Okay, hello, and welcome to session 2 of Against the Shadow, titled Into Ithilien. When we had last left our heroes, they had left Minas Tirith, having been given a message from Denethor, a mission to go and investigate the growing shadow in the east. And they made their way into Osgiliath, where they met some rangers and crossed over to the other side of the city. They encountered some orcs on the bridge, the only bridge across, but managed to defeat them, although Cineric took a bad wound. Across the bridge, they met Otha the Skull, a exiled orc who was willing to help them get through the city in return for some food. And as they moved, they saw a sorry sight of some slaves being forced to work. And in an attempt to help, Baragant had dropped a dagger down to the prisoners below. But the woman saw the dagger, and rather than attack the orc, she took her own life. And this was somewhat disheartening to our merry band as they crossed. But nonetheless, they got to the outskirts of Osgiliath, and they're now on the side, the eastern side of the Anduin River, ready to head into Ithilien itself. Yeah, so as I say, you are on the eastern side of the Anduin. The city is behind you, maybe a mile. And now the wide expanse of Ithilien stands before you.
So where to next? Into the forest?
Beragond of Minas Ithil steps forward and takes a deep breath of the air, and there's a far-off look on his face, and he says, Denethor suggested we team up and meet up with the rangers who are in their base at Eneth Anan, to the north here. I have looked on the maps, but I have never crossed this country before. I know the plans of the cities, of buildings, but in the wilderness, I am no expert. Can any of you lead us northwest from here, I believe?
I have a knowledge of this. Apologies. I have a knowledge of this place, but I agree. If the Rangers of Gondor follow the similar disciplines of my kin, the Rangers of the North, they will have a far better idea than any of us will of this area. I think our priority should be to meet them and to glean whatever they have learned of this area.
I have some experience of riding from the north to the north of the woods of Ithil. I know some of the country, but I do agree. I think they'd be our best bet and our only allies from this point onwards. He says, looking back like over his shoulder to where the skull slunk away, and he just spits on the ground.
Faroth mutters, "The last homely house."
So if you're determined to go north, it's no small distance from where you are to where you believe Eneth Anan to be. It's a little bit further north than Carandros. It looks to be about 150 miles from where you are now, through thick woods the entire way. Perilous, certainly, and long.
Well, every journey starts with the first step. Let's move. And I take a slow step out and hope somebody overtakes me.
Yeah, you guys can begin moving northwards. For most of the day, you travel in sort of sparse, as you can see on the overlay here that I have, sort of rocky ground with ferns and bushes everywhere, trees in the distance. And you travel for the morning and into the afternoon. At the afternoon, you can see up ahead, maybe a mile ahead of you, there is a small village settlement. And further on, then the woods themselves.
I think Faroth is going to swing from his steed. I'm pretty sure all of our steeds made it through Osgiliath, right, Lloyd?
They did,
So he swings off his steed, and he actually takes 1, 2, 3 sort of striding leaps up onto a large rock to survey the area, and he's just going to glimpse down at the settlement to see of what condition it's in and if anyone's around.
Certainly, yeah. Perception, if you wish.
Yes, certainly. Okay, that was a distinctly average roll. Okay, so that's a 12.
Right. So you can definitely see that there is a settlement down there. You can see some people walking around, but it does look to be in pretty poor shape. There are farmlands around, but they look pretty sparse. Looks like hard country to be farming in. But yeah, no sign of the enemy. Definitely looks to be a human settlement.
And does it appear to be populated? Like it's functioning still? There are people living there?
Yep, looks like it.
I look to my companions and I state, perhaps here may be as good as anywhere to make rest, or do we not risk it and continue onwards?
What hour of the day is it?
It's just coming into sort of mid-afternoon. It's probably about 3 or 4 o'clock.
You see Cyneric sort of rubbing his side. He still doesn't look in completely brilliant shape. We have several more hours in this day of travel, but it surely couldn't hurt to spend some time of it talking to these people. Although I do fear, how have they survived on this side of the river if they haven't fallen under the sway of the Orcs of the Shadow or something else?
Is it a risk we must take? That's what we must ask ourselves. Cyneric, you'll pardon my bluntness, but you do not look entirely well. Might it be prudent that we rest here while we can?
I have a fear that I'm not going to look much better a couple of days from now, but I don't want to slow this journey onward. There are worse fates than the one that I currently suffer.
Nah, you are inherently suspicious. What do your instincts tell you?
I think, if nothing else, it might be to our advantage to know why they remain here, seemingly untouched.
It is curious. I bid that we go and we estimate how they have continued to exist here for ourselves.
I agree. And he hefts his axe and his shield to his side.
Yeah, you guys can begin riding towards the settlement itself. Small, maybe 10 or so houses and farmland spreading around. And you see us begin to ride through the farms, or like on the dirt track that passes through a road around here. The people see you and they get back to their work pretty quickly. What people are in the streets will walk into their houses wary, it seems. Until eventually, if you enter into the kind of square, you could generously call it the square. It's really just where several fronts of houses meet. A lot of people have kind of gone inside, but there is a tall, red-bearded man who's holding an axe in his right hand, and he says, "What business have you here?"
Our business is our own. However, it is pleasing to see homely folk this far north. How does the land fare?
He looks out over like the rocky land all around. Hard.
Faroth nods and looks to his friends to see if they have anything they'd like to ask this man who is very blunt.
It must be hard. It must be hard making your living here on the east bank of the Anduin. There are orcs around in huge numbers. How do you survive here?
What choice do we have? We stay here in the shadow of the orcs that swarm, or we go and become beggars in Minas Tirith. Neither is a good option. We survive here by giving tribute.
Faroth freezes at this and holding back like his instant angry instinct, he mutters to him, under his hood. And what tribute would this be?
Food, supplies. And worse, when they first came, they took 10 of our people to work in a camp. What choice do I have? What choice do we have?
You could answer them like men of Gondor and fight, rather than sacrifice your young and women to the orcs.
Answer them with what? This wood-cutting axe? We are farmers.
Do your tributes flow to Osgiliath?
No, they flow eastwards. It doesn't work there. Golthimble, they call him. He demands tribute from us. And if we provide it, he leaves us well alone.
How far out is he?
I don't know where they are. We've never been brought to the camp, nor are we allowed to know where it is.
Who comes to collect this tribute then?
A patrol of orcs comes every 3 months to ensure that we are working hard, and then we give them whatever we can. They take what they want.
How many?
It varies. At least 5.
Only 5.
It might be only 5 to you, Master Dwarf.
The next question is, when are they due?
Not for a month or so.
And beyond this tribute, you are left unharassed.
As I say, the first time they came, they took 10 of our people, I suppose, as hostages to ensure that we remain compliant. But yes, we are allowed to live our lives here, whatever that might mean.
Are you sure these people are still alive? You said hostages. Is that just hope, or have they shown you proof?
Hope, mostly. 6 months ago, they brought back one of the people and replaced him with another, but they'd cut out his tongue so that he couldn't tell us where the camp was.
Faroth is going to turn quietly to his friends, so this guy doesn't entirely hear him. But he mutters, each step closer to our goal. This feeling on my heart weighs ever heavier. Is this how it's going to be? With each step closer to our goal, we find more of the foul influence of the shadow besmirching these lands. I'm finding it difficult to stay my hand.
Each step we take, we seem to leave behind the innocent. There were men, women, children back in Osgiliath that we needed to help. That farmer's sons were there. And now if we were to move on from here, we leave yet more people behind under the influence of these orcs.
And
Do
who
you
are
feel
we
like
to
we-
say?
Hmm.
Who are we to say who deserves help? I never thought this would be true of this journey.
I do feel the need to help these people, but also we need to press on. Otherwise, we'll not achieve our ultimate goals. I don't know what time we can afford.
I look at this man. Does he look like a man of Minas Tirith? Is he a Gondor? Does he have Gondor blood?
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, not of Minas Tirith necessarily, but he looks Gondorian, you know? He's obviously from here. His family are from here. And you can tell that there's like a pride in him that he would, you know, refuse to go become a refugee or a beggar in Minas Tirith.
Looking around at the other men, are they of the same stock?
Look to be, yeah.
I climb on the back. The fair-skinned, dark-haired, dark-eyed Beregond climbs on the back of a barrow and says, Men of Minas Tirith, men of Gondor, you are descended of Numenor of old. The blood of humans of the First Age and elves of run through your veins. For 2 ages and more, we have fought the shadow. Now is not the time to give in. Cross the Anduin. There are other areas less hit by orcs. You can find a new place to find a living. Go north. Head out towards Gondor. Head out of Gondor towards Rohan and find farming along the Anduin there. Go west to the sea and cross over into Ruanor. There are many areas underpopulated, but further from the shadow where you can find an honourable life rather than feeding tribute to the shadow, to orcs. Is this what you were born to? The tie of the land to a farmer is strong, but your blood is strong too. Follow your blood and head west.
You can see some of the people kind of nodding, like, that sounds correct, but then others are calling out, like, why should we have to? Denethor owes us protection. These are his lands, and yet all of the crimes against us go unanswered.
We are here. We are sent by Denethor. I suddenly realise I may have said too much, but I'll push on anyway. Denethor has not abandoned you. We are here. Gondor has not given up claim to these lands, but at the moment the enemy is on the rise, and these lands should be handed over to fighting men, not to farmers. If you support our enemies, you are our enemy. And we must treat you as such. You have a choice: cross the Anduin and honourable future, which will which behoves your blood on the outlands of Gondor, and maybe return here in fairer times, or ally yourselves with your enemy and face with our enemy and face the consequences.
Do you not think life is hard enough out here without having you coming here and speaking these fine words? It's all well and good. You can leave. It's all well and good. It's not your family.
And you
not
can
your
leave.
children.
And you can leave.
If we leave, they will kill the hostages. These people are part of our village. They're our family.
If we knew what direction they went in, perhaps we could scout it out. We know not what we face. They say 5 orcs. Like the dwarf said, we can take that. Take many times that number. And then when they have no more hostages, there is no reason for these people to stay. We're here to get information. We're here to find what the Shadow has in store for the realms of men. Perhaps we should take it to them. Find that maybe this orc knows something of use.
Faroth is going to look to this red-haired gentleman, and he looks from him to Baragon, and he says, "My friend Baragon speaks of old honors and heirs and kings, and I understand that is of little importance to you when your own kin is in danger and in the hands of the enemy. But he is right when he says that you will be safer if you are to cross the Anduin. If we pledge that we will make every effort to help those taken hostage, will you leave, gather your possessions, whatever you can carry, and we will do the rest? We speak only to protect your lives and the lives of your kin."
And what of the dangers of crossing? Where are we to cross? Osgiliath? Carandros?
Can we see the woods from here? Are there
Yeah, you can.
a distance? You have an axe. You have wood. I think fashioning some sort of ship, a boat, raft, and ignoring both options would be the best. You can go up coast, upstream from Osgiliath. You can hopefully ford it. Safer than the realms of the orcs.
And you swear that you will try and find our people.
Seneca looks between
I swear.
everyone.
"By the blood of an Aryan, I shall see it done."
By the blood
Fine.
of Elendil, I shall see it done.
I bring up my hand from my wound that still possibly has blood on it and go, "By my blood, I will see it done."
Nark grunts with a nod.
No fancy word from the dwarf, but a dwarf's word given is word enough. We will go. We'll do what we can. Try and cross the Anduin. We'll try and settle near Minas Tirith, or we'll wait there. If you can send our people there,
Okay.
we're grateful.
If you can get to shipbuilding, we will return in some amount of days. And if you can leave a ship or two for your own moored up somewhere, we will find them and send them to rejoin you.
Faroth takes potentially one last look at this red-bearded individual, and he says, "Take courage. You must lead your people quickly and quietly, for darkness spreads across this land like a sickness. You must make haste."
We will, and thank you.
Tell me, what is the name of this place?
We call it Duintir. Well, that's what they used to call it.
Duintir. And you see his eyes light up, and he says, "The scissors of Adrahil of Duintir." And he looks around at the buildings and the ruins, and just he's looking for something he can recognize, but he doesn't seem to recognize anything as he's looking around.
No, the place is in bad shape. Yeah. It's the kind of, it looks like it's Rohan almost, if you know what I mean. Like, none of the splendor of Gondor, no offense to Cineric, but it looks like some of the sort of villages that you would see around Rohan, you know. Yeah, none of the sort of haughty glory of the men of Gondor here.
A strong place full of strong men.
Yeah, so they thank you, and they're as good as their word, and they start getting to work immediately, packing up what they can, and several men walk towards the woods with axes in hand, attempting to make a raft. They have no shipbuilding experience, but they're going to do their best.
I just have a quick sort of look over them. Are there any amongst them who look like they're not entering into the spirit of this or have other plans? They're hanging back from the rest of them.
You can give me an insight check if you wish.
Nar will
Just
look
one
over
second.
to their injured companion and say, "Is it our intent to rest here for a time?"
Cynric looks at you and I can go now. It may be better if in the morning, but I can go now. We could always just scout it out, and then we'd know where to go afterwards, after we've rested.
With the 5 insight, Caius, everyone seems to be fully involved and keen to help.
Oh, pleased with the effect.
I would be curious in trying to get one of those attention. Whoever looks older or more learned, perhaps has travelled a bit, and maybe try and get a local lay of the geography kind of around this area, if have any advantages, or if they had any ideas, their best guess about where orcs might be camped up, like in the mountains or something.
Yeah, this guy, Karanik is his name. He would tell you that if you go east for maybe another 25 miles, you start to see the mountains. And he would assume that that's where the orcs have said they're taking the people to work in the camps. And he assumes that's mining, but he doesn't know for sure. He would assume that that they're in that direction. That's where the mountains are, and that's where the orcs always come from.
Okay. I don't know. Gather up the party. Do you think if we rescue these people, take this village with us, is there a hope using the paths that the skull has shown us? We could pick up the slaves on our way and return these people to the bridge. See them to safety that way. Or do you want to give them the chances on the Anduin?
Faroth, being keen on the nature of moving unseen, looks across and he sees these farmers, these peasants, and he remembers the toil and the patience and no small amount of skill it took to get just our number through Osgiliath unseen. And he simply looks to Cynric with a doubtful look, but doesn't entirely say no either. It's an option that could be considered, but maybe they fare better on water rather than the hands of orcs.
Very well. No, or Baragon, do you have knowledge of construction now? In Baragon, you might know something of traveling on the ocean. Sometimes you Gondorians do that. Do you think you could aid them in their constructions? See that it doesn't fall apart underneath them? If we rest here, it might give us some time to give them a better chance.
Yes, that was the purpose of my asking, as he glances to those that have begun going into the woods. I can see about helping them perhaps make or repair some of their tools to better aid them in their work.
25 miles will take us a fair time. We might as well prepare and then move out.
Yeah, so you guys can spend the evening here and help them draw up some plans if you wish. Nar being a craftsman, even though you mightn't be, adept at building ships, you still have a good idea about construction itself, and even, the right tool for the right job. You'd be able to help them make a pretty decent sort of canoe at the very least.
Yeah, so as soon as, it's pretty much agreed that we're going to stay, the normally dour features of the dwarf brighten some. Crafting as much as fighting is in his blood. Being a master craftsman, he'll slip down from his steed and grab his magnificent blacksmith's tools and begin setting about helping the people.
Yeah, there's a bustle of activity and people are excited as well. You can see that some people have been keen to leave for quite some time. You would probably guess those who don't have hostages with the orcs. But nonetheless, there's sort of excitement and hubbub, and everyone seems to be doing their part. Helping with construction, helping with packing up everything they can, and yeah, just getting ready in general. So you can work kind of late into the evening, as best you can, and by the end of it, with all these people helping, you've got the basic skeleton of a boat constructed. Whether it'll float or not, it's a different question, but it definitely looks like a boat, which is probably better than they would have managed on their own. Yeah, people are piling their possessions and stuff near it. They're just trying to get as ready as possible. And then once morning comes, they're going to put the finishing touches and hopefully go.
I think the sooner we are able to scout out the orc forces that threaten to return here, the better.
Absolutely. It's morning now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ceneric's looking a little bit better. Not great, but less grey. I agree. We should set off as early as possible. Some hard ride might see us there sooner than we might think.
Rohirrim, you speak with a bravery that, considering your wounds, how is your wound faring?
I presume we spent some time in the morning or overnight with Syrian tending to him, and it's still grievous. It's healing, perhaps a little. We were him fight with worse.
What color is it? Best not answered, maybe.
Angry.
An angry color. Yeah. It'll take several more days for me, at least, to be anywhere near fighting. Well, as fighting fit as I was before, but I'm still strong enough to down an orc.
That's
So
the spirit.
side, I don't have to walk myself, so won't be a problem.
Nara will say, that's the spirit, and give you a rough slap on the shoulder.
He probably grimaces slightly. Any more preparations to be made?
I think the next morning you'd be able to head east and north if that's the plan. If you want to follow the directions of Karanik.
I think so.
Yep, that's what I suggest.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, you guys can begin riding through the country. It quickly, maybe an hour or two in, it gets pretty dense with forests and becomes a little bit harder for the horses to make good time. But with Cyrenik, I think you have enough experience with horses to ensure none of the horses injure themselves. But it is kind of slower going than you had anticipated.
I remember we both. Well, is this sort of southern Ithilien or sort of middle Ithilien or something?
It's yeah, you would have gone a little bit north from where Osgiliath is.
Okay.
Yeah, about a day's travel north of there. And now you're traveling further north and now to the west or east as well.
Right.
Now, I do not speak for you, Cyrenik, as I know you and your mount are inseparable, but how long do you estimate will it be viable, with your knowledge as a horse lord, to continue taking our steeds through this land?
I was wondering, like, is this like roughly on the border of the known land that I would have, or Faroth might have as well?
Yeah, I think you both know Ithilien relatively well, the two of you. So I'm kind of counting it as most of it. I think that your knowledge, particularly Cyrenik, is to the north, right? North down to Henneth Ammon. And I think yours might be as well. So you're kind of on the wrong side of that. You're approaching, like, once you get past Henneth Ammon, you both of you would have a better idea of that side of it. But this side is kind of more foreign to you. But I still think the knowledge still applies to some extent. Like, it's still Ithilien, it's still kind of rocky forests and stuff.
Yeah,
I think Faroth was asking Cyrenik, him being the horse expert, really. Like, I have animal handling, but this guy's from Rohan. He knows horses. So I would think how much longer will they be viable for us anyway.
I was just asking to know how confident I could reply. Cyrenik is perhaps not really having any of a problem, and he, I think, almost like nonchalantly throws you off. No, I will not see any horse go off the path. You ride with Rahirim. We will ride to our destination.
Faroth does actually take some stock in that, despite the blow-off nature of how you say it. Like, at the end of the day, he is still from Rohan, and he is a horse lord, so fair's fair.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's stop and start to some extent. Like, you'll go through patches of woods where the undergrowth is very thick, and then you'll come into like open, sort of more open vistas like this one here. But it changes, hour to hour, kind of where you are. You're heading in the direction of the mountains, and you can see them, the mountains of shadow, known throughout the lands to be a dark and dangerous place. There's a sort of a pall of clouds that hang over the mountains constantly. They haven't left since you've arrived, since you've come into sight of them. And it's about late afternoon when you are riding through, and you're coming to a river, and there's like an actual path here. And in front of you, bolts from left to right, a white stag just right in front of you. And then a moment later, you can hear, and right behind it, maybe 20 or 30 feet behind it, barrels a orc on some sort of huge canine creature, just barrels right past, doesn't even look in your direction, right after it. And then a second later, another one barrels past and just briefly looks, but doesn't stop and keeps chasing after this stag.
I spur my horse after them and get up and get my bow off my shoulder and start knocking an arrow to it.
Excellent.
Yeah, how quickly they go by if I can grab one of my hand axes and chuck it at them. But yeah, I'm not going to just...
It would be too quick to react like that. It's literally just boom, 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 straight past. Like, they're going at full gallop on these big wolfish creatures.
Yeah, then I'll just kind of let out a roar as I spur my steed after them.
Okay, let's roll initiative. Rob's just like, why?
We're supposed to keep it quiet, guys. What the hell? No, I love it, really. I've been aching to fight. And the wargs, I'm guessing, right? Like, that's so cool.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, ever
I
since the slaves, Nar's just been gnashing his teeth to get his hands on an orc, and it's like
Yeah.
a gift from the heavens as it's like delivered.
Have a look at the mounted combat stuff. Your steed gets 2 actions in a turn, so it can move twice, or it can move and disengage and use the rest of its movement to come out again, which was what I was not doing last time. So I'll have to
so the horse can take the dodge action as well if you're in combat.
Yeah.
Which is really handy.
Is that everybody or just Rohirrim?
No,
anyone
that's
who has a horse.
The 5th edition, or steed rules.
So the horse can, it moves on its own, and then it can either dodge, dash, or disengage on its turn as its action. Okay, here we go. Did you get for initiative, Caius? Oh, there it is, 9.
9.
Sorry, yeah. Okay, Farath, you're first to react as these things whip by.
So Pharos' natural reaction is to drop into stealth, but 1, he is mounted. 2, his companions are yelling. So he swiftly, seeing that a number of his friends are already charging, decides to take the tactical decision to hang back a little, still riding after his friends, but drawing his bow instead. And he basically just looses a mounted shot at the warg closest to him.
Okay.
Okay. Oh dear. So that's a 9.
So, and this orc is like, boom, 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 and just like right beside its head, just twang into a nearby tree trunk. The orc looks back and shouts something to the orc in front of it, but continues riding. Nar.
So how much of a lead do they have?
They're probably 60 feet ahead of you guys right now.
And can I gauge if their mounts are faster than mine? To any degree? Like, are they pulling away from me, or am I catching up to them? Or
it's kind of hard to gauge. What you would guess is that they're probably faster on short distances, but you're not sure.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just continue after them, but I'll go ahead and draw one of my hand axes and chuck it at that one as he's looking back.
Okay.
So 23 to hit.
Oh yes.
So that would be 9 points of damage.
Okay, yeah, the axe catches this orc in the back, and he lets out a roar of pain, but is determined to just keep going. The Warg Rider, who is the guy you just threw the axe at, he turns and he shouts, "Ogror, we've got people incoming!" And then he just whips viciously with his blade at the warg, which just bolts as quickly as it can. So he's going to dash basically for his turn, and he himself will take the dodge action mechanically. Cineric.
Is he dashing away from us?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay. I will attempt to try and catch the guy dashing away from us. So he spurs on Ciaro, who then moves and then dashes. I don't know how close that would get me.
Horse's speed is 40.
I think it's 50 for
50?
a horse.
Yeah, it would get. Yeah, this is like the bane of my life. Is like figuring out distances in a chase scene. It'll get you within 60 feet, I think.
Right. He then attempts to. Well, he pulls out the great bow that he has, attempting to shoot from horseback. And as he arches the giant bow and pulls it back, he then doubles over in pain, unable to do anything.
Oh. Yeah, it's too much. The wound might even split a little bit as you're pulling back. Yeah, Beragond.
Beragond is just flat down on the back of his horse. He's got his bow out and he's waiting for an opening to make his arrow count. It's ready to action. Basically, if one of the orcs or the wargs gets into combat with something, he'll lose his arrow. But he's not going at full speed. He's letting the others pull in front of him.
Okay, no problem.
He'll go about 10 feet behind the others.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you guys are all kind of barreling after these orcs. Orgror, who is the first of the two, who you had seen barely behind the stag itself. You hear him shout something to the orc behind. He says, "Keep moving!" And he does the same thing. He dashes forward, and he himself will dodge. They're just determined not to get into a fight with you. Just running. They know they're outmatched and there's more of you, so they're just going to try and get away as best they can.
Do they have they abandoned the white stag?
You wouldn't be able to see from where you are, but it looks like they're just running now. In the direction that you were headed, which would be northeast. Faroth.
Riding horses actually have 60 feet movement speed. I was
60 feet. Okay.
Wrong. Yeah, they have 60. All about the speed.
Yes, Faroth, your turn. That's you, Rob.
Sorry, I was just trying to work something out in my slow, dull mind. Basically, they've committed now. So Faroth maintaining speed on his horse. With the fact that he can draw a bit closer to them, he will still be in range with his bow. So he's going to try and shoot the. He's going to aim for the orc this time, the same orc that he went for last time.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if he can do it with his great bow. Oh, that's much better. That's 18.
That's a hit.
Excellent. So that's a D8. That is 9 points of damage.
Wow, nice. Yeah. So this orc already has an axe in his back, and he continues just like whipping this warg, desperate to get away. And then an arrow just right between the shoulder blades catches him, and he plummets backwards. His feet stuck in the stirrups. He's now like backwards, just like bouncing around at the back of this warg, which continues to run as quickly as it can.
That's incredible.
Nice
well shot.
Nar, you're next.
So yeah, at this point, he's just going to kind of lean forward in the saddle, not particularly skilled at riding, as he digs his heels in and says, "Come on, you big stinking animal, faster!" and tries to spur down as fast as he can, trying to catch up with him.
Alrighty, no problem. The Warg Rider is dead. The Warg will keep running. That's what it will do. It will continue to just sprint after the other Warg. Cynric.
If I double pace Ciara, will I catch this guy running away?
So the other guy is a little bit further. He was another 30 feet beyond the first orc. You'll be closing in on him. Yeah. You'll be within 30 feet of him if you sprint on your horse.
Okay. That's a little far for a jump, but okay. I will attempt a bow attack again.
But it looks like next turn, if you continue moving at this pace, you will catch him.
Excellent. I will attempt to bow attack him, and I succeed. I pass. Well, no, I pass my DC. Shall I
Excellent.
say? I can make the attempt, and that is a non-natural 20 to hit. Is he dodging?
That's a hit. Yes, he is. Yeah.
So that was a 16 the first time. Oh shit! Right, no, I miss.
Ah, shit, I forgot about that with Rob as well. He was dodging, but it's fine. What did you get there?
That was a 2.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what I did. That was.
that's unfortunate. Yeah, so the arrow clangs against one of the metal pauldrons on his armor, and he looks over his shoulder, fearful.
Sinnoh screams at him in Rohirrim.
He looks
Screening
quite afraid. Beragond.
Beragond watched where Nur Ironfist's hammer throwing axe fell, and he's going to try and reach down and grab it as he rides past, and then return and basically keep the same plan as before. If it looks like Cynric's catching up on one of them, he's going to try and ready his action and shoot when there's an opening. But I don't know whether I'm going to be able to grab the axe. It's just sort of for theatricality. I do have a cunning action, but it doesn't really fit. So I'm throwing it out there for you to decide.
So the axe is still stuck in the orc. You'll have to pull up next to the warg and then reach across and get it.
It's from.
So if you make an
I
animal
thought
handling
you'd
check,
missed. Oh, sorry.
no, the axe is stuck in the orc. So if you want to make an animal handling check, you could definitely try and grab it.
Okay, but the orc that went down, you mean?
Yeah, but he's stuck in the warg with his stirrups. Like he's bouncing on the back of the thing, but he's dead. But he's stuck in his saddle.
I don't think I'll have caught up to that then. I was just imagining him having been left behind. So I'll do it in the future, not now.
Okay.
I'll just sit and shoot when there's an opening.
Okay, no worries. Orgror sees that you're all gaining on him. He pulls out a horn and...
Can I actually... Yeah, I wasn't watching him at that moment.
Desperate now, Orgror, you can tell, is terrified of dying, as he just pulls out this horn and lets out a low note, and continues running as quickly as he can. Farath.
The damage has been done, but regardless, one horn blast, it could mean anything. It could be a different kind of signal. Who knows? So he is just going to take another a shot with his bow. Basically, he's going to try and get behind where Cynric is. Obviously, not be able to catch up because he needs to make the attack. So here we go. Let's see how he does. So that's 19.
That's a hit.
Even though he's dodging?
Oh, no, he's not dodging because he took the action to blow his horn.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, I just remembered as well, I do get a little bit of extra damage when I'm hitting these guys as well, which I forgot last time. So, let's see. It is +2 against it. Okay. So, again, 9 points of damage.
Very good. Yep. The arrow connects with the orc. He is like turned around in his saddle, and you catch him in the shoulder, and he just like snarls. But you can tell it's mostly bravado. He's afraid, and he's running for his life as quickly as he can. Nar.
So having rode all out last turn, how close am I to him now?
Let's see. Oh yeah. So you've been dashing. So yeah, if you move with your horse this turn, you'll be neck and neck with him.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna pull up next to him, and yeah, I think after he blew his horn, that's going to be kind of tick me off. I'll go into my fury, and I'll give him a toothy grin as I pull my mattock and take a swing at him.
Okay.
So that would be 25 to hit.
Yes. Is that two-handed?
Thinking the mattock probably is.
I think so. It might be tricky to swing a two-handed weapon. I feel like archery is like a thing you've learned, but I feel like the dwarf maybe isn't as familiar with swinging a two-handed weapon on a horse. So anyway,
Yeah, it is two-handed.
It's a definite hit. So give me the damage, and then please make me an animal handling check.
Oh,
Well, even if I fall, it'll be totally worth it. So come on, boys. That's 10, 14, 16.
16, nice. Yeah, the mattock just like smashes right through the back of his armor and into the flesh and gets out a horrible roar. And just give me that animal handling check, please.
So basically, a straight dice roll. Yeah, so that's an 8.
Yeah, okay, so you managed to swing the mattock wham into his armor. And you try to pull it out, and you one of your foot comes clear of the stirrups, and you just tumble. You're holding on to the mattock at the back of the orc, which is like embedded in his flesh and armor. But you're like tumbling behind this warg as he just continues moving, and your horse whinnies in terror.
Brilliant. So I'm basically dismounted, but I'm hanging from my mattock that's buried into the orc. It's
Exactly, yeah.
being pulled along by the warg. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, the warg rider is dead. Cyneric.
Does that count as a distraction? Can I use my readied action with that
Certainly,
one?
yeah. Yep.
So as the dwarf attacks, an arrow comes flying from behind, a black sheathed arrow, and digs into the orc. Well, it hits an armor class of 22, so I'm guessing it finds there's a point is exposed under the arm as he's hit, and my arrow follows in there for doing just 9 points damage.
Okay, nice. Still up, just barely. The arrow finds purchase, as you say, under his armpit in there. He's got the dwarf hanging onto his back, but he's like desperately whipping this thing to continue. Cyneric.
so Ciara double pacing.
He hasn't dropped his horn, has he?
No, he hasn't dropped the horn.
Ciara double pacing now can catch up to where they are.
Yes, yeah.
Cyneric attempts to stand up in the spurs, or whatever they have at this point, and leap across to knock the orc from the warg. However, fails his con check.
He's being dragged along, and Nar sees Cyneric pull up. He gives him a big grin as he's bouncing along, hanging up on his mattock.
Well, he attempts to, and then doubles down in pain again on top of the steed.
Killer.
Curses. He's put his bow away for the jump, but that's that. I have like a less than 50% chance that I get to do what I do on my turn.
So crap. Sorry, Dan.
So that's his go. He's keeping pace. He somehow, through the pain, is managing to steer Ciara, or maybe she's doing it mostly by herself.
That already is an incredible feat, just keeping pace with this thing. Baragond.
Baragond looses another arrow at the injured orc. First arrow is followed by a second, which flies into him for an armor class of 19.
That's a hit.
And he's within 5 feet of the dwarf, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
So this one finds another. Oh, for 17 points. This one.
Nice. The arrow whistles past your face, Nar, and into the back of the neck of the orc as he sputters and begins to fall. He also is pretty much locked in his stirrups. It looks like the orcs tied themselves to the creature so they can't fall off. And he flies back. Nar, I need you to make a dexterity save, please.
Ooh, dexterity. I should be awesome with that. Oh. Oh, well, 18 on the roll.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you managed to...
Hang on.
Yeah, barely. You managed to hang on to the warg itself as the mattock comes clean of the orc, but you managed to hang on to the fur of the warg, which doesn't seem to be stopping. The warg now looks around. It can see that there's enemies all around, and it turns and tries to bite the horse next to it, which is either going to be Siaru or your horse, Dennis.
Random horse number 5.
Roll deep, yeah. Okay, you're in luck, Siaru. It's Dennis's horse gets bit. Let's see.
I'm curious in the damage of this.
Okay. It's always a good noise when you hear a DM fishing out extra dice.
Riding horses are really fragile.
So it is 13 as the horse or the warg leaps over and bites into the neck of the horse next to it. 13 damage. Yeah.
That is exactly what you need to knock a horse from full to 0 in a single bite.
It was 2d10, 7 and 2 plus 4. Yeah, so the warg bites the horse goes boom, 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 tumbling, and the warg itself goes tumbling immediately afterwards over the horse and goes flying, crashing into the ground. I'll need one more dexterity save from you, Dennis, as you try to hang on.
That would be 12 on the die.
Yeah, so unfortunately this time it's too frantic, too much. You let go and you smash into the ground, and you will take, 11 falling damage. Yeah, 5 and 6.
Does the warg get hit by the horse as well?
Yeah, I mean the warg is going straight over
Right.
and smashes onto the ground. It's like desperately scrabbling and stuff, but seems to have hurt its leg quite badly. For all intents and purposes, we're out of combat now. You can see the other warg has not followed you. It's like run off in a different direction. But this one now is just like it's got a broken leg and it's like whimpering on the ground.
If you don't mind, as the warg is sort of just trying to get up, I like to think that Faroth by this time is caught up and just rides past and just slams his sword into it as he just rides by.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, just
Bond Bergond rides on, and fallen orc who had the horn, he reaches down, takes the horn, and carries on away from the camp, trying to follow a path and looking out for a good ambush point. And when he finds a tree or a good ambush point with view of the, he'll blow the horn again and climb the tree.
nice.
Waiting and wait.
I mean, I like the idea,
Oh
but
my
you
God.
didn't discuss it with your friends or give
You
them
can-
any time to rest.
Yeah, Faroth is halfway through explaining something as the horn. What Faroth is saying is, perhaps with time. And Lloyd, do the orcs, are they armed? Do they have arrows at all, or what do they have on them?
So these both have like a horn bow with like black arrows, and they both have like a serrated sort of blade.
Okay, So Varoth is midway through explaining how potentially, with care, they could make this look like other orcs attacked them, and then the horn blows loudly again. And he says, my point still stands. We could attempt this, but now time is even more limited.
Cyneric looks disgusted. Before the horn goes off, he looks disgusted himself. He looks at the fallen horse and touches the EO helm, the circlet that he wears, with a little jeweled horse on the front. And then he sort of leans down, still in his saddle, to try and pick the dwarf up, like give him a hand to stand up. If you make me roll, I will fail that.
I won't make you.
The saddle, but pick the dwarf up. And then the horn goes off, probably just as you're trying to explain to us.
Quick question, Lloyd. Would being in fury with my resistance help with falling damage? Is that?
Yeah, it's bludgeoning technically. So yeah, you would take half.
Cool.
So what is the plan now? Baragond is hiding in a tree, an ambush spot. You've kind of come to, for convenience sake, something like what you see on my overlay. So if you imagine you're in the trees near the back and there's like an open space, and that's where the warg has fallen, and then Baragond has run back into one of the trees and climbed in there.
Perhaps we can buy ourselves a bit of time
with a good view around. Only blown just one thing. I've blown the horn once. Just there were ones close. They'd come to me, but then I leave it.
Yep.
Fareth, I mean, so how far away is this ambush point?
From where you are, 60 or so feet behind you, maybe.
Right. Perhaps if we could put, given that we either have enough time to pull the corpses closer so we could literally leap on them as they came to investigate, or we leave them be. And
Lloyd, is there any way I could make a check, Lloyd, with any experience? I mean, I'm not asking for any favors here, but like typically if an orc hunting party, Fareth guesses is what they are, went out and blew a horn, how many reinforcements would usually be sent? Like typically, would they send hundreds, 10?
Not hundreds, no, possibly up to 10.
Yeah, I thought as much. Okay.
It depends on who's close, it depends on who's close, but generally it would be any orcs that are close would come to see what's going on.
Definitely. Sorry, that sounded more meta than I actually meant it. Like, I just meant like my experience, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you guys would have experience with it.
Sure. I think, Cyneric is right. We've either got a chance to make it look like Jesus Christ.
You hear a horn blow, shockingly near, and we'll take a quick break there.
Oh,
if you want to get a bio break or something.
Yeah, please. Thank you. That was my request. Thank you. Dude, this is amazing. I can't wait to get back to it. I'll be right back.
5 minutes, guys, yeah?
Yeah. Caius, what are you doing? You madman.
Well, this has gone entirely off script. This is not what I had planned.
I bet that's the first time that ever happened.
I was like, they're not going to help the people. They're just going to go to Henathanan. So, like, all of this, since you got to the village and we're like,
God.
we're going to help, has been on the fly.
I mean, I felt bad enough leaving those slaves behind, and I think quite a few people wanted to do that. I wanted to solve that problem, but we kind of, because I was grievously injured and such, we didn't. So then you stuck more people in front of us.
Yeah,
and I was
it's like
I
more.
can't leave people to their fate.
Can
Part of.
I just have my intention there was to actually a way to draw the orcs a bit away from the others, so they had slightly more time to react if there were orcs on top of them immediately. So I think I'd have more than 60 feet. I would have gone out of sight, which in a forest isn't that far, but certain direct line of sight before I blew the horn. I didn't explain it clearly enough, obviously, so maybe I'm,
Well, I have you out of sight up in a tree.
Well,
and it's like, I can imagine.
It's about to get a lot more interesting. I'll wait till everybody's back.
I have it like in the tree line, and then like just beyond the tree line, there's like this rocky sort of place where the warg crashed down the horse and everything. So you're further back from that,
Just drawing them away from directly onto the party. If they follow the sound of I'll answer their horn with my horn. and get a readied action and wait with my bow as best I can so they can't see me clearly. He's there, so I don't know whether that gives me away.
Nico in the chat here, orc response teams ORT always consist of 1d4 orcs more than the party total.
I'm good with that.
That's so true. True that.
So when that orc horn goes off, Nar, who with Cindric's help just kind of rights himself and slaps the side of his head, will reach down to his side and pull out his own dwarven horn and answer the call as he grips his mattock and moves a few feet in front of the corpses to meet whatever's coming. Totally caught up in his fury and lust for orc blood.
Perfect, yeah. Very Middle Earth, horns blowing everywhere. As people begin for battle. Yeah, it's answered again by orcs. And then you can hear the sort of approaching thuds of wargs incoming. They skid into the open area to see where just to be sure, you guys left the bodies where they were, right?
I don't think we had any time.
Yeah. They skid into the open area, and sorry, you guys have moved up to where Caius is, I assume.
If it's 60 feet away and a horse charge away, it's not too big an issue, I guess.
Yeah. Just want to make sure before I explain this. Actually, I was standing over there. Yeah, so you can see a party of 6 warg riders skid to a halt and look down at the body, somewhat confused, looking around. One of them, burlier than the rest, he's got a half-melted face, steps off. You see him take time to untie the knots that keep him in his saddle. He, with a metallic clunk, steps down onto the ground and looks, inspects the bodies, sees the horse, and he says something in black speech to the others. And they look around. I'd like a party stealth check, please. Everybody roll a stealth check, and if
Nar really wasn't trying to hide himself.
Okay, yeah, if you want to just go for it.
Yeah.
Jesus, those wargs are loud.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I tell you. Very unruly, darn it.
I got 17.
Okay, yeah.
For stealth. For my surprise charge, probably.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, go ahead, you
I was
first.
going to say I probably didn't explain it good. Yeah, basically I just like moved away from the bodies, but he's not trying to stealth. He's like waiting to meet them with his Madak gripped in his two mailed fists.
I like the idea that the orcs like just can't understand the possibility that someone would just be standing there, so they don't see you. You know, they get off and they're just like,
Right, yeah.
no idiot would just stand there. So they're like, oh, there's nobody here. And this
I
guy,
would like to say, in direct contrast to this, the ultimately stealthy Faroth, Ranger of the North, is slightly to the left of Nar, just sat on his horse because I rolled 2
Okay.
in plain sight.
you've got your hands covering your eyes, so if you can't see, they can't see you. You know.
Hiding behind a stick.
This particularly large orc enemy steps down and he says that thing in black speech, and even the sound of black speech makes your skin crawl. You almost feel like, you know, clouds overhead are just like suddenly darker, and that's when it starts to rain as he issues the words, and he looks and he sees you and he says, "Filth, dwarf filth, you come here and kill my men."
You pig face shit eater, and I'm going to roar out and start charging him.
Okay, initiative, please.
Oh boy. Oh, Jesus Christ. I really just get that.
You have to make your roll before you can roll initiative, too.
No, I don't know.
I know.
Because initiative happens regardless. I don't think I can fail not to join the combat. That would be really sucky. No, it's just I rolled really high when I didn't necessarily want to. So, yeah. Because this is a lot of people to face.
Yeah, because their mounts are quite bitey.
Yep. You've got to think they've probably there's roughly basically double that you're fighting there, than you might think you are. And also, I'm slightly less than half a person.
Which still doesn't equal a dwarf.
The dwarf has sass. I like it.
I'm going to let Nara go before you, Sir Nick. I think that's probably wanted by everyone.
Including me, yes.
So you said the one that, like, the leader dismounted, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so basically that's the one. Yeah, I'll charge.
Okay, here we go. You call him a shit eater, pig-faced shit eater, and then Baragond, it is your chance to act.
Baragond, his standard action is to wait until closes in combat with one of his companions, and he's going to be covering Cineric. Basically, he's the most injured, so if he gets into combat with somebody, he's getting an arrow.
Okay, gotcha.
Bring
Nar.
fire.
So 24 to hit.
Oh, yes.
6, so that'll be 9, 15.
Nice. Big blow with the mattock straight up. Clangs into the side of this guy's rib cage, and he takes an unwanted step in the direction that you've hit him in, but he snarls. There's more fight in this work. Cyrenik.
So, most of the orcs dismounted at this point?
No, only the leader. The rest of them are all standing on their or sitting on their wargs.
Shit. My thoughts are if you kill the leader, the rest of them might leave, but then we don't want them to leave. And they're all on wargs that could bite my horse apart in a second, but without it, I'm significantly useless. I burst out from the foliage in full charge from my stealthy position. And I think I'm going to clatter straight into the leader anyway. I actually pass so I get the chance to attack.
Excellent.
That's a 16, unless I get advantages with some sort of surprise.
Is this against Erfingol, the leader?
If that's the leader's name, then yes.
Okay, yeah, 16 won't hit him.
But as he's in combat, I'll loose my arrow. Have I surprised him, or do I have advantage?
Yes, you do have advantage. Yeah.
Because I jumped out from my surprise roll and he's distracted by the dwarf and anything. Do I get advantage, or?
I will allow it.
Thank you. We'll see if I can hit. That upped it by 1 to 17.
That's what you need, you jammy bastard.
Nice.
Oh my god! Right. Contribution. Right. That's 7 on the die plus 9 for 16 damage.
Whoa. Gnarly.
Being on a horse with one weapon versus things of the shadow, and my strength bonus is a +9 to whatever damage I do. So
holy moly, that's great.
16 damage as I just cleave by him, just smash. If I have any more movement or anything, I'll try disengage from any wargs that might eat my horse. But
yeah, no problem. Yeah, so he was kind of, if you imagine, he was at the 12 from you. Excellent. He was at the tip of this sort of, you couldn't call it a lance formation, you couldn't call it a but it's as close to that as you can imagine orcs will manage, like he's at the tip and the rest are behind him. So he was at the front, so if you run into him, you could basically run right past the other warg riders are kind of standing around looking utterly shocked that anyone would dare attack this many orcs.
I'll do that and then go past and then sort of wheel round in the distance.
Excellent. Erfingol is none too happy with this situation, and he is going to begin roaring, beating in his chest, and then he is going to attack you, Nar, recklessly. Okay, that's a 26 that'll hit.
Yep.
So that is 12 slashing as he lifts his big, huge blade and just down, smashes into the armor. And then he tries to do so again. Ooh, but that 21 hits.
Yep.
And that one is for 9. So he lets out this huge roar, and he has this sort of almost like a sword at the end of a stick, this big two-handed thing that he just like swings both directions at you. And then it's your turn, Faroth.
Faroth wheels his steed, and rather than going for the direct charge, he actually rides his mount out onto the right flank a little bit, and figuring that it might be best to take the leader out, also charges Erfingol the Melted, and he's just going to try and take a swing at him with his broadsword. Oh baby, that's a nat 20. Oh my goodness. No, I don't think I get any bonuses for charging on a horse because I'm not Rohirrim, so that's just a standard attack, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I assume so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Okay, so here we go.
You still get the Hunters of the Shadow benefit.
Yeah, +2, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Ooh, max on 1. That is 15 points of damage. As I just
Okay.
ride by and just smash into this guy.
And roll me a d20, please.
Okay, that doesn't sound so good.
It's very bad for him.
Oh, okay. That is a 5. So I don't
Oh,
know.
that's really
Oh,
bad,
nice.
if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
For him, yeah. So it's a critical lingering
Oh, of
injury.
course. Yeah. I'm with you.
So if bad guys can get you, then you can get them as well. Just
Awesome.
let me see where that is.
It's the same as Tineric has. It's in
Yeah.
DC 15
That is brutal.
to react.
So he needs to make a 15 Constitution save or check before he is able to act on his turns. So you manage to ride by and stab the broadsword right into a gap in the back of his armor, and you can hear a wet gurgle as he blood pours from his mouth, black blood. You clearly hit something vital, and he shudders.
I really like to think that it isn't the full thing, but it's a hint of dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
As I smash it from the flank. Awesome.
Lovely. Okay, so that was Farath. Okay, the two of the Warg riders kick their mounts forward. One of them goes after you, Farath. One of them starts running in the direction of the arrow. He doesn't know where you are, but he knows the arrow came from that direction. And the other is going to run towards you, Nar. So one from the dude and one from the Warg. The orc misses you. Farath tries to get, but you're too quick. You duck under a slash, but the Warg tries to bite and also misses. They're moving too quickly, and the Warg is unable to recover in time. And so you just see this sort of blur of fur and fang as it just goes a little bit past you. Now on Nar, the orc misses you, clangs against your armor, and the Warg. Oh, that'll hit. It's 11 from the Warg as it bites around one of your arms and begins to shake. The third has run over in the direction of the arrow, and the Warg is sniffing the air, trying to find you, Baragond. So I'm going to let him attempt a perception check. Oh, but he absolutely bottles it. The Warg is none too wise. There's too much blood in the air, and it's unable to find you at the moment. The two remaining Warg riders pull out these sort of horned bows, and one of them pulls back to take a shot at you, Cineric. But I think he's going to miss with a 15.
Yeah, AC 16.
Okay, yeah. So one of the arrows twangs past you. The other one is going to take a shot for you, Farah. And that will be a 16.
Yeah, that gets him.
Alrighty. That's not too bad. So 5 piercing damage.
Okay.
Yes, and that's all the wargs. Baragon, it's back to you. There's a warg rider circling very near to you, but it seems to be unable to find you.
I'll climb further up the tree. So sort of, I don't know how high I was, but I'm guessing he'll have to climb about up to 30 feet up to get him, and I'll ready my action. If he starts climbing, I'm going to knock him out.
Okay, nice.
Wait until he's high and then attack.
Yep, sounds crafty to me. Nar.
Now, if I recall, he attacked recklessly, right? So that means I get
He did.
advantage.
Yeah.
Nat 20.
Oh my.
Nice.
So how's that? Do I just roll and double it, or double the roll?
Roll twice the dice.
Okay, excellent. Oh man, that's 46.
That is a loud dog.
Sorry.
All good. That's the wargs, man, hanging out.
Yeah.
Non-stop slavering and howling of wargs as the battle goes around.
This is going to be good. It's 20, 26, 28.
Wow, nice. And roll me a d20, please.
That would be a 2.
I think that's an arm. Or is it an eye? Someone got the book handy? I should really start bringing this book to this game.
Sorry, what?
A 2.
What number was it?
A 2.
A 2?
Yeah.
That's lose an arm or a hand.
Oh, wow. That is grim. Okay.
Jesus.
I'll read it out. Hold anything with 2 hands, and you can hold only a single object at a time. Yeah.
Killer. Okay, yeah. So he's got both his hands on this big weapon, and you swing the mattock up and you just like crush his right hand. You can see like 2 of the fingers go flying, and the hand is just like a gnarled mess afterwards. He's like holding this weapon now in one hand, but he's having big difficulties. It's heavy, clearly, and he roars out in pain. Nice work. Okay, so that was Nar. Cyrenik.
So nothing came after me.
No, one of them shot at you, but the one has gone after Faroth. They're pretty focused on Nar, and then one has gone to investigate the arrow.
So there were 2 archers who were a little distance away. Can I get to them still?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
I'll go after the archers and attempt to succeed. I succeed. Fantastic. And now to hit. Don't let me down with all these dice. That's a 14.
On the archers, that is a hit.
Oh, thank Christ.
Na, 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 na.
So yeah, the one 13 damage to the one that hit me.
Ooh. Roll me a d10.
That is a 10.
10, okay. I think that means he can't take reactions. So this is system shock. If you do more than half a thing's health in one smash, then it has to make a system shock roll, and some of those kill them immediately. But yeah, 10 is, you want to roll low as possible, ideally.
Yeah. So I smash him and then like ride by, and I want to circle around so I'm behind the archers, in between them and getting away. Or actually, should I just be? Actually, I might. They're archers. I might as well stay in combat. I'll try and wedge myself between both of them, so they have to make disadvantaged attacks or move away.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. So Cyneric charging forward, axe high, is now between these 2 orc archers. You would call them snagga. They're kind of like smaller, runtier orcs. You know, they don't have any of the bulk that the other warg riders have. Yeah, and they look a little bit upset with this situation here. Erfingal cries out in agony as his hand is smashed. He's trying to use this enormous weapon two-handed, so he has disadvantage to do so. And yeah, but he will continue to attack recklessly. He misses the first strike, absolutely. He tries to swing with this weapon. He's not used to it in one hand. It's too long, too unwieldy, but nonetheless, he has no other option. And he just like tries to swing for you, Nar, and you like duck under. The second attack. Oh, that one's going to hit, though, incredibly. He's going to get you with just the tail end of the blade. Oof. So it's going to be 10 damage to you. Managed to cut, maybe even cuts a little bit off your beard as he slashes into you. And that is it for Erfingal. Faroth.
Yeah, so wheeling around, Faroth sort of glares at Erfingal, still standing unbelievably, this hideous beast of the darkness. And he rears round and he charges back. And he's just going to try and deliver another smash with his broadsword against this thing. Oh, okay, that's 15, so that's 20, a modified 20.
That's a hit.
Awesome. Okay, +2 to the. Oh, it's max. that's 16 points of damage.
16, very nice. Yeah, he is still standing. But yeah, he feels it, another big blow. And you're wondering how he's still going. Like there's just black blood covering him all over. But he just seems unwilling to fall. These marauders, one of them goes after you, Farath. In fact, he should have made an opportunity attack against you, but I'll leave it. He runs after you and tries to get another smack in with his sword. But he whiffs it, and the warg is going to try and bite your horse. And it does. Oh, you are a lucky man. It's only four damage to the horse. It rolled 2 ones on its damage.
My poor horse.
Bites at the leg, but it manages to, the horse kind of kicks at the warg, so the horse takes 4. The other marauder is going to try and make another perception to find you, Baragond. The warg, rather, is going to try and do that.
I'll be calling down to him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in that case, he'll look up and he'll see that he can't get to you, and the warg is none too keen on climbing trees. And he looks, and he kind of looks that he's tied into the saddle, and he thinks, fuck it, and turns the warg around and begins riding back to the battle. And then the third is going to try and attack you, Nar. That's going to miss, and the warg is going to try and bite you, and that's also going to miss. Nar is an impenetrable fortress.
Dwarven-made armor.
Yep, absolutely. The 2 archers, where you are, Cynric, they look most upset at the situation that they're in. One of them is barely hanging on. He's got like a hole cleaved into his shoulder almost, and he's like holding onto the warg barely. He drops the bow and he pulls out a little knife. I mean, really little knife, and is going to try and stab at you.
Okay.
But he is unable to do so. He like swings, and you're easily able to dodge out of the way. But his warg is going to try and bite at Siaru. Oh, but fails. Siaru, blessed. The other archer is going to try and shoot you point blank, although it will roll with disadvantage to try and do that.
Okay.
And it fails. God. And then the warg is going to try and bite Siaru. And fails. Cynric the Lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, so these 2 archers are just like desperately trying to get at you, but somehow like you and Ciara are in this perfect sort of dance, dodging every blow, moving aside perfectly. Ciara, trained for combat, is well able. And then it's back to the top, Baragond.
Flops down, hanging by his knees from upside down from a branch. He focuses with his bow and looses a shot at the one warg rider who's still got a bow. The one that's on
by Cynric.
The one that's on Cyrenaic, and unless I have advantage, well, I hit an armor class of 20.
That's a hit.
So, oof. The arrow bites into it for 20 points damage. I sort of disappear back into the greenery of the tree.
Yeah, Cynric, you're standing between these 2 orcs, and one of them has the bow drawn, and he just barely misses you. And as you're looking at him, as he tries to knock another arrow, an arrow just like comes out through his mouth, and he falls dead off the warg. Very nice. Okay, Nar.
You son of a toothless sow, you shall fall this day. You attacked recklessly again, right?
He did, yeah.
So that's 18, 24 to hit.
That's a hit.
All right. Come on, big damage. So that's 14. 20 points of damage.
20, nice. Oh my god, that's exactly what he needed. Yeah, so describe it. You managed to kill him.
Yeah, so basically, as I call his mother a toothless sow, I spin around to bring the mattock up and smash into the side of his head, crush into his skull. He falls to the ground, twitching. As I stand over him and my gaze turns around looking for the next closest enemy.
Yeah, the orc just kind of stumbles around for a moment, unsure if it's dead or not, and then eventually falls.
Is there one of the party that has more than one orc on them?
Not anymore. There's one behind you, but Farath is there with you as well. Cynaric was fighting too, but the orc there is dead. The warg is still
okay.
there.
But there's one right by me. If I move, then he'll get an attack opportunity. So I'll just turn around to him with my blood splattered armor as I heft my mattock again.
Nice.
Waiting for my next attack.
Cynaric.
So I pass my check. I then hit
Excellent.
the remaining orc on a 16, and I do 16 damage to it.
Butchered.
Planting the axe solidly into that orc. In between both wargs, I sort of raise my shield with that curled horse symbol on it up to the forest to show my thanks to Aragon. And then
Perfect.
the horse disengages from both of those wargs, and I'll move over to the next combat.
Perfect. Nice work. Yeah, so the two archers are dead. You can see them both stuck in their saddles, and the wargs are kind of milling about, a little bit less sure of what to do. Urfingol is dead. Farath.
So from what Farath can see, which is the closest orc, and what shape is it?
So there's two orcs where you are. So you had run to fight Urfingol, and one who had been on you followed you, and there's also one who was attacking Nar. So there's two full, untouched marauder style orcs where you are.
Okay. In that case, the dwarf probably has the other one. Let's face it. So I'm gonna wheel about in the saddle and basically pointing my sword directly at him. I'm just charging with a scream. And that's a 17 total?
Yes, that'll hit.
Okay. That is 14 points of damage.
Wow, nice one.
As I slam into him, screaming, blood flicking from the blade and into this orc's chest.
Very nice. It's a good hit, and the orc looks not too happy about it. The marauder right in front of you, the one you just hit, is going to try and swing for you now, Farath. Okay, yes, and he succeeds. Oh dear, maximum damage. That'll be 11 slashing damage.
Oh, okay.
Big hit. The warg will attempt to bite at your horse. I'm afraid it's a critical hit.
Oh my god, no, my horse.
Yeah.
This is why I didn't name it Lloyd.
Just in case he rolls all ones. No. Okay, yeah. So the warg, as you are hit and knocked back a little bit, the warg just bites at the throat of your horse and begins tearing and ripping until eventually it pulls back and there's a shower of blood. The horse begins crashing down to the ground. I need you to make a dexterity save, please, Farah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the beast rears back, that is... Hang on, let me just check. I think I'm right. Well, hopefully. Let's see. Okay, so that is 16.
Okay, yeah, you're good. You manage to land on your feet as you jump out of the saddle, but the horse, unfortunately, is torn apart by the warg. Maybe, fortunately, the other warg right next to it begins eating the horse rather than focusing on the fight. So the two wargs now are interested in that more than killing you and your friends.
What I will say, Lloyd, is as it was a critical against the horse, I probably get my balance, but Farath is like, he rolls and then slams into a tree, so he's basically half up, half down, like
Perfect.
staggered from this assault.
Yeah, suits me. No problem. So that was the warg of the first one. The second one now is going to try and swing for you, Faroth. Now that you're staggered a little bit, it kicks forward and tries to slash at you. Critical hit, Rob. So sorry.
Oh
God.
Ouch.
Jesus Christ. So that will be 13 slashing damage.
Okay, I think I might still be up. Let me just bear with me 1 second. How much did you say it was?
13. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm still up.
Okay. I need you to roll a d20 for me, please.
Oh, man.
You want to roll high?
That is 18.
Oh, that's probably good news. That is a minor scar. So you'll have a scar that will stick with you for the rest of your days. The orc blade rips across just at your jawline here and leaves a nasty mark on your face that, with the serrated nature of the cut, will never heal. Right? You'll always have a scar there.
That's so cool. But ouch.
The warg, though, is too intent on eating the delicious horse in front of it, and so will not do as his master wishes. The third marauder, which is running away from Baragon towards the fight, sees the situation, sees that Erfingol is dead, and you see it rear its mount and begin running away the way they came. And the archers are both dead. Their wargs look a little bit confused, but then they smell the meat and they begin moving over there. And a feeding frenzy erupts as these wargs are just tearing apart what was once your loyal steed, Rob. I'm very sorry. And then it is back to Baragon.
Again, this figure drops down from the tree and looses an arrow at one of the wargs. Is there an injured warg?
There is a warg rider running away. I just thought I'd tell you.
The wargs themselves are unharmed, but there is, you can see the guy who was by you has run away.
I'll go for him. Do I have any advantage on him, above him in a sniper's position or not?
You are hidden, so you can have advantage to shoot this guy if you so wish.
Okay. I'll take advantage of that. So I hit an armor class of 22.
That's a hit.
For 17.
Ooh, nice. Roll me a d10.
That's a 3.
Oh my goodness, that is very lucky. So the creature is dropped to 0 hit points, but is stable. You fire this shot incredibly, catches the thing right in the back, and it leans forward in the saddle, unconscious. The warg continues running, but then kind of slows to a walk a little while later. Okay, wow, nice shot. Nar.
So yeah, I'll take a swing at one of the riders. Its warg is eating the horse. That would be 17, 23 to hit.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, my body's barking. 9, 15.
Okay. Roll me a d10, please.
That's a 4.
4. It is stunned until the end of its next turn. You smash it in the side of the head with the mattock, and the creature, the orc, just kind of is like blinking, like in a cartoon, just like trying to shake off the pain and the concussion that is sure to follow. Okay, that was Nar Cineric.
So for all intents and purposes, that one he just shot and slumped looks dead, presumably.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So the one that was after Faroth, that was chasing him, is still warged up.
Yes.
We'll go after that one. I managed to succeed again. That's like 4 in a row. That's
amazing.
Really unlikely. And then I miss. God damn it. I ride up to him, go clung, and then possibly disengage and then rally round in a different area.
No problem. Fingal is saying Faroth.
So Faroth has staggered, and Lloyd, correct me if I'm wrong, but this orc is atop a warg facing me down here.
Yeah.
So Faroth is barely like conscious at this point, and he's staring this beast down that's drooling this saliva in front of him. And as he's getting to his feet steadily, Faroth flings back his cloak and flicks the blood from his blade. This is the blade of Anarion, and he shouts at the top of his lungs, Anarion! Faroth is performing Royalty Revealed, where he pronounces his heritage before his enemies, and both the warg and the orc must make a DC 15 charisma saving throw, or they become frightened of me.
Wow.
In addition, anyone within 10 feet of me gets 6 HP back.
That's incredible.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's amazing. Yeah, so
getting pretty low.
Nice move.
And
So,
this is a bonus action, Lloyd, so you can tell me what they do, and then I get to attack as well.
okay, let's see. Charisma is the warg's best stat, so we'll see.
Ah, damn.
No, it fails, and the orc fails also. So yeah, you reveal this royalty in your blood, and both of them are just suddenly take like the warg takes a tentative step backwards, and the orc actually covers his eyes from the glory.
And with that, I sling both of my blades into its face. Hopefully,
Nice.
I rolled.
Oh, you can have inspiration as well, Rob, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I rolled 2 16s, which gives me a total of 21 for both attacks.
That is 2 hits, my friend.
Awesome. So, bear with me 1 second. That is... Okay, that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18 points of damage in total to, I'm going to say, the orc.
Okay, he is dead.
Yeah.
Tell me how.
So I like to think that although the cry for Anarion alarmed the orc, it just confused the warg and it went to lunge at Faroth. But Faroth basically made a leap, pouncing off the warg's head as he steps and basically draws both of his blades across the orc's neck, decapitating him.
Amazing.
And it lands behind the warg.
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
I'm just going to say that matched perfectly with the swell in the music for me. It went do 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 do.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you reveal your royalty. The orc is stunned and then suddenly beheaded. The warg itself is cowering. As you land on the other side, it turns. It's got like its tail between its legs and it's backing away from you as quickly as it can. Yes, that's what it does in its turn. It turns and runs away from you as swiftly as it can. Then the warg with the potentially dead man on top continues moving, and the other marauder realizes he's alone now at this stage with many wargs who are not doing what they're told. But he knows he's not getting out of here alive, so he's going to try and take a swing for Nar.
Isn't he stunned?
He is stunned. He does nothing. He stands there. Sorry, I forgot. He is not only stunned but terrified, and he spends his turn doing nothing.
Pissing himself.
Yeah, the wargs of the archers now are just feasting on the horse down below. They can see now that there are no orcs to tell them what to do, and they see you kind of, all of you, I guess, milling around with the food, but you don't seem to be trying to take the food, so they're not really too bothered. And back to Baragon.
I would like to shout, question him. I don't know if Baragon can hear, but at least the people near me, I want to shout, keep him alive for questioning.
Sort of attract circles above the tree that Beragond is on, and it looks like it's about to land when suddenly it backs off and takes the air again as there's a rustling of leaves and movement in the trees, and then an arrow comes flying out of the tree, punches Orc on the back of the Warg. Do I get advantage on that?
Yes, you're hitting
against
him.
the unconscious Orc. So 19.
That's a hit.
I guess that hits. As he's unconscious, I think get an auto crit or not.
He's stunned.
Let me just check.
Sorry, Caius, which orc do you mean? The one who was running away, or the one who's
No,
in the
it's
fight?
not an auto. No, the one that I took down last time on 0 hit points is orcs have a to survive, and the warg might run away. So I'm just wanting.
Oh, okay.
Just a quick question, actually. From everything I know, do orcs?
You cut out there, Caius. I didn't catch what you said.
Or communicate? I have a question. Looking over all the legends I know, do orcs speak?
Wargs? No.
Communicate with orcs?
Some of the more advanced sort of the warg kings might be able to communicate through grunts and stuff, but most wargs are basically just mounts. You know, most of them are like dogs, but meaner.
Yeah. So, my aim is to stop news to other orcs, and we might not be able to stop all the wargs, but I'm determined to stop all the orcs. And this one's down, but he might survive if the warg he's on runs away. So he sticks an arrow into it to make sure it's dead.
Okay, yeah, you do.
Do you want me to roll damage or not?
No, it's fine. He just needs one to be over the edge. So yeah, the arrow flies true and catches the orc again, and we zoom in close to see him utter his last breath. He was hanging on barely. You could see him like grabbing the fur of the warg, and as the arrow hits, he lets go, and his arm goes slack. Nar.
So the one remaining orc, I assume that he's like tethered to his saddle as well.
Yeah.
Is it possible I can draw my hand axe to cut the moorings and drag him down from the back of the thing?
Yeah. Just make an attack. You can make it with advantage.
Sure. So that would be 23 to hit.
Yeah, no problem. You take your hand axe and you cut through one of the ropes that are holding him up, and once you cut one, the other one, the weight of him just like flings him onto the ground on the other side.
So then I'll grab him by the throat and begin dragging him away from where the wargs are feasting.
Okay. So for all intents and purposes, the combat is now finished. Beyond the wargs, who don't seem to be concerned with you, if you want to take time to end them, then we can continue, but otherwise they're going to eat the horse and then go.
I think Faroth is going to stare wildly at his companions, like in sort of like a battle fever, almost looking around, and says, "Come!" And he sort of just runs in the direction they were supposed to be going originally to get away from the feeding frenzy.
Cynaric looks across the battlefield for a moment, seeing all the slain orcs, but especially seeing all the horses, these beautiful beasts being fed into. And the grip tightens on the haft of his axe, but he sees how badly Faroth is wounded, and even the dwarf has taken many blows. And he just does that thing where he just gently touches the eel helm. And then leans forward and ruffles the mane of Ciaro and goes, "Born in the saddle, die in the saddle, but not today, Ciaro." And then trots after them.
Yeah. So you're able to get away from this site of destruction and carnage, moving away from the battlefield back into the woods, I think, for cover. And maybe finally to catch a breath after the chaos of the last 10 minutes, perhaps. The wargs don't follow. You wait for an hour, and it looks like, as you keep an eye on them, they eat the horse and then they wander off in the direction that the other orc had planned to go in, like where they came from initially. But yeah.
Yeah, once I get him a good distance away, I will truss up the orc, and then sit down on him. His armor would hide, much of his wounds, but yeah, Nar's in pretty rough shape. He's splattered with blood. What little of his features you can see beneath his helm would be very pale, and his breathing would be quite labored, indicating probably some, bruised or broken ribs or some internal injuries like that.
It's perhaps another hour before the orc that you have tied up now comes to consciousness. He shakes his head and he looks around. Ushnak, Urna.
Now, I don't know how this might apply, but both me and Faroth, being these shadow hunters, actually do have shadow lore. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm absolutely terrible at it, and Faroth might be the same, but we might be able to glean something from either the writing or what he says, or
it's quite possible. Common. Let me see what I've got for it. I know it's distinctly average for me as well. I think he's still learning a bit. Yeah, he's not. I can give it a go. Yeah, maybe we could. Maybe I can give assist. You. Yeah, the assist or vice versa.
Absolutely, is what I was thinking.
Okay.
Do you want to roll it? Are you in the position where you really want the information from him on your last load?
I tell you what, because I think of Faroth's condition, I think he stares across at Baragon first of all, and he just mutters a warning next time, my friend. Like breathing heavily, like you can see blood is pouring freely from one side of his tunic. His cloak is bathed in blood. And he turns to Cynaric and says, perhaps if we discuss this deal, perhaps we may be able to glean something. And I think it would be, I think Faroth would aid you, so that gives you an advantage on your roll in that case.
Excellent. I will. Do I have to con check, or is it?
No, it's fine.
Not urgent, right?
I think it's just combat actions in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That wasn't bad. Oh, actually, I have advantage. I just realised that was what that. Okay, that you managed to give me an extra point, like I did last time with that attack.
You're welcome.
That is a solid 14 for Shadow Law.
Yeah, so he's speaking black speech, and it's probably something that you would have avoided learning on purpose, because those who speak the black speech soon turn dark themselves. And even the sound of it sounds like rumbling and fire, and it just sounds wrong when you hear it. You can piece together that it's a question, but that's pretty much all you can get from it.
Okay, I've just mentioned the character traits for the hunted by the shadow thing I have. I've got hardened, which is the shadows cost you much, but you will cost it back to them, basically. I have dark secrets. The best way to fight the shadow is to learn about it. And then I have the hope. I have shadow has strengthened me in ways that I'm certain it didn't anticipate or desire. So Although it probably costs shadow points, I may be actually. He is in a very bad place, and he is willing to corrupt himself to fight the shadow.
Gotcha.
And it's weird that and this is completely by accident, but Farrell does have the similar, in fact, almost identical tenets to his way of life as well. So, but Cinerix, go first, man. You mentioned it. So
Okay. Well, in that case, if that's the way you guys approach it, then I think you might know bits of the Black speech, and you can piece together that he says, "What is this? What do you want?"
I don't know. I growl at him in whatever broken Black speech I might have picked up, trying to embrace the darkness to help fight it. And where do you hail from?
Usna Ushanak. And he, even when you said that little tiny piece, you can feel a sore throat and a headache coming on just from speaking the words. And he says, I come from when there are many, from whence there are many.
Nar has obviously no idea what he's saying, but when he laughs, I'll punch him in the face.
He gets a smack in the mouth. And he says something that translates into dwarf is particularly tasty.
Lucky for him, I can't understand what he's saying. I don't think anybody else is going to translate it, but it looks...
He'd probably look at you for a second and then think, no, that's probably not a good idea. As you see, many does not bother us. Where? And I sort of continue to half strangle him, shake him.
He says, the mountain, the iron, we take it from the earth. And he points in a vague northeasterly direction. Through the woods, go there. If you wish to die.
When we previously talked to those villagers, they said something about the mountains to the northeast, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would be able to guess by where he points that he's referring to mountains.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, Golfimble will devour you.
He puts his so he's gripping him with one hand and then puts his axe, the blade under his chin. How many?
Too many.
Can I attempt? Oh, this isn't really going to work, I don't think. But can I attempt to intimidate him, for some sort of secret entrance?
Certainly, you can try.
Alternate.
Can I give him an assist on his intimidation since I'm trained in that? And sitting on him and glowering down at him?
Yeah, I think...
And
you go.
I think it's... he's not intimidated, and he won't be. He's not afraid to die, and you don't seem scary to him, so, I think it's more likely that you would trick him or something. His chances of being, cowed are pretty slim,
That name that you mentioned, Orc, what does it belong to? Faroth rasps with a very sore throat after the battle.
Golfimble. He is master of the mines.
The mines. Lloyd, do you reckon with a roll I might know anything about these mines?
You could certainly try.
Yeah, what would I need?
Lore.
Yep, Shadow Law. Here we go. Faroth is much too concerned about his injuries, and he sort of just slumps on a rock and just sort of puts his arms on his legs like that and just bows his head, thinking.
I think even the short thing that you said in Black Speech where he took a lot out of you in your current state,
Definitely.
So even though I can't understand him, I could probably get the gist that he's not being cooperative and that he's not intimidated at all by us?
Yeah, definitely.
So can I take my warhammer and smash one of his hands?
You can if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
Yeah, so I imagine you hold the hand out, and he's like struggling against it, but eventually the hammer comes down, crack. You will suffer to Goldfimble. You will pay.
Farrell will just mutter, "I believe we've heard enough from this foul creature."
They will know when we do not come back. They will know that something is wrong. They will be ready for you.
I like pull him right up to my face, just go, and in black speech, they will know their doom, and then cut across with the axe.
Oh man.
Inspiration.
And then throw him to the ground. Well, we have it confirmed. He sort of probably chokes a little and coughs, clearing his throat from the black speech. And that we have it confirmed. Both the orc and the location. Though it sounds like there are many more where these Warg riders came from. Dwarf, if we get you to the mountains, do you think you could find us through? Maybe not a direct approach.
I would lead you through the tunnels.
I wonder how many slaves there are, if they've got this deal with many other villages, or if they've just slowly gained from those taken from the countryside. There might be more than the 10 we expect.
It may be, but we have given those that attempt to cross the Anduin hope. And I think it is within our power to at least try to be true to our word.
Well, I would agree. We have given it. We don't know what we face yet. Baragond, do you know anything of these mountains? You seem to know a lot of the old lore.
I have. Whenever you are told of a particular location or chance across it, you may ask the Lord Master for 3 pieces of information regarding the locale. The information is usually a mixture of particular treasures and obstacles. I don't know if I'll have heard anything about these mines, whether they'll have gone into lore, but...
Okay. So the mines are in the Mountains of Shadow, and I think you would know about those. The Mountains of Shadow are the mountains that, if you're going from Gondor into Mordor, these are the mountains that stand in between. It's the pass of Minas Morgul, which was once Minas Ithil, is on in that stretch of mountains. Cirith Ungol, the ancient pass, is there as well. They are probably one of the most dangerous places in Middle-earth. They are fully consumed by the shadow, swarming with orcs, and fouler, more ancient things as well. It's long been supposed that these mountains and all of the mountains around Mordor are incredibly rich with minerals, iron, things like that. That's where how they're able to equip the endless legions of orcs that come from Mordor. So you would assume that this mine is one of the many, many mines beneath the mountains where they dig for iron.
Faroth slowly stands to his feet and he feels he's kind of a bit self-conscious. Like, in the battle, he thought he was going to die, and in what he thought was going to be his dying moments, he unveiled his heritage, that he is of a line of one of the descendants of Numenor, and he has always held this begrudgingly in his mind. He doesn't like this fact about himself. But regardless, he turns and he looks at the company that is with him. And he says, if the dwarf feels that the mines will be the most effective way to enter the land of shadow, then I'm with him on that.
Suggest Hemeth Anan. Sinric here, valiantly, but he still needs time to recover, as do all of us. A little rest in the strongholds of rangers of North Ithilien would do us all good, but maybe with some extra information before we press on.
Your words have merit, Beregond.
Presuming you described to us the place of how awful these mountains of shadow are, that is a very large obstacle in front of us. Quite a task.
Yes.
Maybe the rangers can help us.
Simply walk into the mountains of shadow.
We don't know how deep underground they've taken them. And how many they number. I can only think maybe we can draw them out somehow, but not without the rangers' help. And maybe the villagers will have already set to leaving. Even if they never see their loved ones again, at least they'll live to see another day. Maybe we should take the half victory.
In there, just is there to release these villagers?
Well, they said they had a month until they come looking.
Yes, if they have survived long enough, if they have survived this long in the caves, in the mines, a good chance they will survive another week. We rest and head to gather our strength. I say, looking at Sinric.
I suppose we have a month until they supposedly return to that village, and then the ruse is up. But hopefully, what we've done here today won't end up in punishment for these people anytime soon.
Beregond is right. If we press to meet the company of these rangers, we can do no good whilst we're in this condition. It would be best to plan our next movement carefully, for if we do not, I fear it may be our last.
Very well. I think to the rangers we go then.
And Lloyd, sorry to take it out of the in-game talk. So you mentioned we had 2 hours. Now, Does that mean we had 2 hours rest, or weren't we really able to because we were on the move? I don't mind either way. I was just curious.
Yeah, I think you've been on the move pretty much consistently getting away from that place, and you had the orc
Yeah.
with you, so I don't think you
That's
would have
fine.
rested yet.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just check.
If you're going to go towards Henathanen, there's a long journey ahead of you. Like I say, from where you are now, probably 120 miles. No, more, probably 130
Minus
miles.
a couple horses.
Minus a couple of horses, yeah. So it's no small journey. But yeah, that evening you can search for a nice place to rest, and the forest is kind to you. It provides you with a natural sort of glade with a thick canopy overhead, so the rain doesn't come through as heavily as it has been. The grass is thick and soft, and there's even a small meltwater stream running through, and you can get a good, comfortable rest in for once. Light a fire, dry your clothes of blood and of water, and yeah, get some solid sleep. With the hopes of heading off in the morning, I assume.
Perfect. And Lloyd, just so I'm clear, is this like 5th edition D&D? We have a long rest.
Yes.
You get full HP? Cool. And when I say cool, I mean thank God.
Yeah, so you guys get a rest in, and you begin to.
In the morning.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, I think you cut out a lot, Kai, so we never know when
Yeah.
you start talking and when you aren't.
Yeah, you're having a bit of a lag issue today, Caius. Finding it hard to follow sometimes.
Is it the microphone
No, I think
clearer, or is it the lag?
It's the lag, definitely. Like when you're speaking, it's clear, but it seems to cut off quite a bit. And your camera is quite laggy as well, so I feel like it's probably lag. You guys can begin plotting your journey.
Bergond in the morning. Bergond in the morning approaches the others. I'll press on. In the morning approaches the others. I'm not a fighter, and I am not trained in combat. But I thought what I did was right at the time, and I'll still defend it. The horn was already sounded, and reinforcements were coming. My intention was to draw them away. Was to camp and buy you some time, but seem to be honest before draw them away. So do not. I am sorry if I was too hasty in blow. Maybe I got too excited in combat and blew it before, didn't draw them off far enough. We don't have time to have a council of war, and the horn had already sounded. I thought it was the best. Maybe I was wrong, but it is done. We've survived, and in future combats, I may need to make another split decision. My apologies.
Bergond, there is nothing to apologize for. You acted on instinct, and you are right. They were upon us very quickly. However, in future, by all means, make split decisions. Just hail us before you do so.
However,
I would hold on to the horn. It might come in handy. Like I said, we might be able to lure them outside of their mountain homes.
This is very true. But now on to our journey. And Lloyd, I don't know if there's anything we can do to see if there's anything we can do to basically plot our journey for the best, most efficient way possible now that a lot of us are on foot?
It's basically you're going directly north for what looks to be 130 miles, and it's forest the entire way. There is about halfway through your journey, there's like a gap where a river runs into the Anduin, but other than that, it's thick forest almost the entire way. In terms of plotting a journey, I don't think you would know the ins and outs of the forest and what's the quickest way would be, but you can basically, I think from where you were standing, you would think just go as the crow flies is be the quickest way. That's what the maps would.
And I think Farath would just be glad of the cover of the forest, to be fair. So,
yeah,
I think he's as happy as he can be in that regard.
When we found that settlement, did they have any horses or mounts of any kind?
They had like livestock, but not horses. They would have had like draft
Okay.
horses, maybe. They might have had oxen instead.
So, when we have, me and Farah both have Ways of the Wild, so we get advantage with survival with tracking through the wilderness. We also have expertise in perception when in the wilderness, and various other things like not becoming lost under normal circumstances when within our favoured lands, and knowing of friends or like sanctuaries that we can visit. And we also have advantages in stealth. So when in the
you're
lands
well
that we
equipped.
know, we should be pretty good for tracking even through a lot of forest.
Yep, you're extremely well equipped for this journey. Hazardous as it may be, you are well equipped, and you can make good time the first 2 days. It's raining pretty much consistently, but you're under the forest most of the time, so it's not too bad. Occasionally you get like fat drops that have gathered on the edge of a leaf that like fall and run down your back, but other than that, it's mostly okay. You're able to eat well with between Faroth and Cineric. You're able to hunt rabbits, squirrels, things of that nature without too much issue. But it's on the evening of the third day that you come to a clearing, and there is a large statue of a brutish creature wearing a crown. And it's just like frozen solid, strange statue. In this clearing. The clearing is perfect for a campsite. It's well covered like the previous one I talked about, well covered by a thick canopy. There is a stream. It looks pretty comfortable.
Just out of interest, Lloyd, is there a gap in the canopy above the statue?
There's not.
Oh, okay, never mind.
A little bit.
My theory is blown.
There's a little bit of a canopy. There's like some what do you call those? Like god rays of sun coming through.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Recognize this statue?
Sorry?
Do I recognize this statue? Do I know?
No, definitely not. It looks incredibly brutish. It's huge, maybe 12 feet tall, very heavy set.
What does it depict?
It's got like it looks. It doesn't look human. It's burly and its face is ugly and misshapen. It's got this crown on its head, this big crown that's also made of stone, and it's holding this ridiculous sort of length of tree that's got like gold just like smashed into it, golden necklaces and stuff that have just been like pushed into the wood all over. But yeah.
May I take a roll to see if I can identify the species of this creature that this statue
Certainly.
depicts?
Make a shadow lore check.
Yeah.
Can I give him advantage on that?
Yes.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
I'm sorry, miss. What is the statue made out of? Is it out of stone or
Stone.
wood?
Yeah, stone.
Can I attempt maybe a stone cutting roll to get some kind of origin?
Yeah, sure.
So my shadow lore in total makes a 20. I rolled an 18.
It doesn't.
2, so.
Yeah, it looks, now that you're kind of seeing it properly and you figure out that the sun is shining on parts of this statue, you think it might be a troll.
And it was turned to stone, perhaps?
Yes.
Oh man, that's so cool. I turn to the others and I say, this is no statue. This is a gravestone of a creature that was caught in the blaze of the sun.
I got a 22 on my stone cunning.
Yeah, it looks magical, like as if a creature was just like frozen in an instant into stone.
Incredible
so
craftsmanship.
when he speaks that, I'll just nod. So I tug at my beard.
Yeah, it's far too perfect a statue to have been carved by anyone.
Well,
Hasn't
except maybe
been
dwarves.
Maybe dwarves, yeah. But yeah, it's got jewels and this big crown and this big stick, basically, that's got jewelry smashed all over it, into it.
The gold has not been. Says
The jewelry,
looking forwards and reaching up to it.
I think he's reaching for some of the gold.
yeah. You can begin prying out bits from the stick without too much issue, but you are aware that it is becoming dark.
Hurry, Verigond, if you want more trinkets, it may have to pay with your life. We must move. If this is troll country, we are in trouble.
They turn to stone.
But where there is one troll, there is many. And there are worse things in this forest, potentially.
It is here, and he's almost crying, trying to prise it out of the stone.
You said the crown was... Is the crown also jewels?
Yes,
Gold.
it is, yeah. But it's
From
like, if you imagine, it's too small for the head, and so it's like wedged into the skin almost, and the skin has become stone.
Okay. Right. How about you, dwarf?
With his daggers bang away, trying to pry loose something from this. He's to leave these.
Yeah, well, you're able to with daggers and stuff. So you can get it has this big, almost like a scepter. If you can imagine what a troll would think a scepter is, it's basically a tree trunk that he's like gotten pieces of jewelry and like pushed into the wood, and you're able to like with your dagger and stuff pull some of those out, necklaces and torques and things of that nature. But yeah, it begins to get dark, and you can hear a sort of low rumbling from not too far off.
We should be on our way.
Just one more.
As you wish, and then he'll begin moving forward anyway.
I've almost got it. I follow them quickly.
You can, as you begin moving, you can see a troll walk into the clearing. You're hidden now at this stage, and you can just watch as this troll walks into the clearing and kneels before the statue. And he says, "We have served you." And he has like in his hand like a deer that he's caught, and he just like throws it at the base of the statue. And he says, "Me, do as you say." And then he like reaches carefully into the staff and like pulls out a little gem. Me reward, and then gets up and walks away again.
Fresh meat. Dwarf will rub his belly as he looks at the deer.
You would risk your life for a deer? If you wish, be my guest.
Of course he would, he's a dwarf.
That's... I don't have that much experience in trolls, but that seemed slightly unusual to me. Troll worshipping, whatever this is, the king of trolls.
What that was, Seneric, was luck. Had we been a moment later, we would have been spotted, and I do know of trolls, and I know of their monstrous strength.
Yes. I have no need of these trinkets.
You start to hear
Nowhere near it.
shouting in the direction of the troll in black speech, just like shouting loudly, and then another voice, equally deep and rumbly, shouts as well. And as you're kind of sitting there hearing this shouting, the troll you had seen is like pushed, skids onto the ground into the glade, and a second troll runs in after him. They begin punching each other, wrestling each other near the statue. But you find as soon as they come to a certain closeness, they both stop and they move away from the statue and then continue their strange fight.
Do we wait and pick off the winner and the loser? Or do we do something to this statue? I get the sense it's important and that I want to destroy it.
It would seem that these trolls are very much aware of what claimed their idol. Faroth looks quizzingly back at the statue. I don't know about you, but it would seem that picking a fight with not one but two trolls may be folly.
Perhaps you are right.
There is no perhaps about it,
But the
Cedric.
meat. He looks mournfully at the deer.
Dwarf, I will find you another deer.
Done. I will hold you to that.
So wisely leaving behind the battling trolls and the strange statue of the Troll King, you continue moving northwards towards Henneth Arnan. But I think that is a tale for next time. You have made it through into Ithilien itself, and we'll see what happens next time. So my players were Caius of Glantry, we have Dan Barnes, we have Performance Check, Rob Coletta, and Wicked Zen, Dennis Kellogg. Thank you very much for playing, and thank you for watching.